What's up, you guys? This is JYoungGo2 back with another video, and in this video today I'm going to be discussing when the last time the Sacramento Kings were relevant. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. It's been decades, it feels like now, since the last time the Sacramento Kings have made the NBA playoffs. And the last time they did make the NBA playoffs, it was back in 2006, and they lost in the first round. And that was the last time that the Sacramento Kings were ever relevant again. And now, for the past almost 15 years now, the Sacramento Kings have not made the playoffs, not once. And over these last years, it seems like the Kings have drastically failed on attaining really good draft picks and really keeping key guys on the team. And one of those key guys obviously was DeMarcus Cousins, who came in and who looked like, he could be one of the best players for this franchise to ever play in. But it turns out that the Kings, they could never truly surround Cousins with the right talent. And now, looking at the Sacramento Kings and where they currently stand, the Kings have done actually a bit better with their draft picks. They drafted De'Aaron Fox, and he's turned out to be a guy who could possibly be a franchise player, a future all-star one day for this Kings team. They did draft Marvin Bagley as well, too, with the second pick over Luka Doncic, and we still haven't really seen his true potential yet on the basketball court, and the truth is, we may never will. Who knows? But also, they did acquire, of course, Buddy Hield, and he's been a really huge plus for this team as well. There's many young pieces on the Sacramento Kings team, but the Kings still haven't really truly made that big step up compared to other teams. But regardless of this fact, let's go back in time to when the last time the Sacramento Kings were truly relevant. Back in the 2001-2002 NBA season, the NBA was in a totally different place. The Lakers had just won back-to-back NBA championships. Allen Iverson just won the MVP. Mike Miller won Rookie of the Year. The NBA overall was just in a totally different place, a different style of play. Many a variety of things, of course, back then were different compared to today. And one big difference was one team that was still really good, and that team was the Sacramento Kings. In the 2000-2001 NBA season, the Sacramento Kings during that offseason had acquired shooting guard Doug Christie from the Toronto Raptors, and they signed free agent Bobby Jackson. And after that, the Kings, they became pretty much an elite team out in the NBA, especially in the Pacific Division. And that season alone, Chris Webber, who was their team's best player, had one of the best seasons of his NBA career. He averaged 27.1 points per game and 11 rebounds per game. And he, just like his teammate Vlade Divac, who were the two big men on the team, made the All-Star team. And their first-round draft pick, Hedo Turkoglu, was named to the All-Rookie second team. And in the first round of that season, the Sacramento Kings in the playoffs beat the Phoenix Suns, and this was their first playoff series win in 20 years. But in the second round of that playoff series in the semifinals, they went up against the Lakers and they got swept. So coming into the next season, in the 01-02 NBA season, the Sacramento Kings had to make some changes. And they definitely did, and they acquired point guard Mike Bibby from the Vancouver Grizzlies and second-year guard Mateen Cleaves from the Detroit Pistons. But despite Chris Webber missing the first 20 games of the NBA season due to an ankle injury, the Kings went on a 12-game winning streak without him, and they had a 37-12 record before the All-Star break. Once Chris Webber returned, the Kings got even better, and he was still even an All-Star that year, him and his teammate PJ Stojakovic. What made this team really unique, in my opinion, was that, for the most part, everybody in their starting lineup, Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, PJ Stojakovic, Hedo Turkoglu, even when he started sometimes, Chris Webber, and Vlade Divac were all really reliable playmakers on the team. I feel like that's what the most part set out this team apart from many other teams. This team, it really wasn't a ball-dominant team with really one superstar caliber player and just everybody else just followed his lead. This team played basketball together. kind of similar to the Detroit Pistons and how they won the NBA championship. They had playmakers, shooters, and they had two guys who were really gifted playmakers for big men as well, in Chris Webber and Vlade Divac. In that season, the Sacramento Kings made it all the way to the Western Conference Finals that year. But not only that, but they had the best record in the entire NBA. But obviously, if you watch basketball and you watch NBA YouTubers, of course you probably do, and you've seen the Mike Rizimba video or many other people who talk about the Sacramento Kings, how they got robbed in that series against the Lakers. And the Kings, they definitely could have won that series, and they could have gone to the NBA championship and probably win it all. This team had the second best offensive rating. They were top 10 in defensive rating. And as I said before, they played together on the basketball court. The Sacramento Kings that season, really, they had all the talent in the world to really won an NBA championship. In that Lakers series, they got calls that weren't really supposed to be called for them, and nothing really truly good happened in their favor. And the Lakers, they went on to go win back-to-back NBA championships, doing a three-peat. And well, for the Sacramento Kings, things were never truly the same after this point on. Yes, they were still good for a few more seasons after this, and they were still one of the best teams in their conference. They won 59 games in the 2002 NBA season, but things slowly over time began to fall apart for this team. They still had a variety of talented players on this roster as well too, and they still had their main pieces intact. But their one and true chance of possibly going to the NBA Finals were ruined, and they could never truly get back over that hump again of going to the NBA Finals and making it even to the Western Conference Finals. For the next 2 years after losing to the Lakers, they made it to the Western Conference semifinals against the Dallas Mavericks, and they lost. And then the next year against the Timberwolves with the rising Kevin Garnett, and they lost that series as well too. And from that point on, the Kings slowly began to decline. And by the 2005-06 NBA season, that was the Sacramento Kings' last time ever making it to the playoffs. But looking at the Sacramento Kings today, there is still promise for this team. They went an entire decade without making it into the playoffs. And that says a lot about the Kings and how they run their franchise. And lucky enough for them, they've been very lucky and fortunate to draft really good players over the last few years in the NBA draft, because really they have a history of not really now drafting really good players. And if they do draft some good guys, they end up leaving the team. You remember when they had Isaiah Thomas and DeMarcus Cousins on the team at one point, and when they had Tyreke Evans, but he ended up not doing that well in the longer run. There's many talented players that have played for the Sacramento Kings over the years, but they haven't really done a good job maintaining that talent, or some of the guys, they just fall off, period. But looking at the Sacramento Kings today, they definitely have a better future ahead of them, hopefully. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content. Have a good day. Peace.